rights. Your citizen rights are slave rights. None of those are sovereign rights. But they don't believe that individuals can be sovereign and not be part of a corporation without being a crown carrying, scepter toting king. That's not what a sovereign is. We were sovereign for they king. Before 1492, the issues that we have today was not our biggest problems. Our biggest problems was who was going to have the biggest cookout this year. Them was the kind of problems we was dealing with. We was dealing with the kind of problems like who had the prettiest horse, who had the prettiest bison. Them was the problems that we dealt with. These American modern problems were not our problems. They brought this shit over here. We didn't have these problems. Everybody over here was filthy rich. There was no such thing as poverty in the Americas before 1492. That's a side effect of being pillaged in warfare. And that's why we was pillaged in warfare, because we was filthy. Everybody wanted to come over here and be part of the House of Tahuti because he knew how to make sure everybody got money. Everybody had a means to support themselves based on their own merit, skill set, and what they had to offer to the community, and all of the members of the community supported each other. Then they came over here with this individualism, this me, myself, and I mentality. Disregard the village that raised the child, but now the whole village retarded. The child got to raise the village. That's what's happening right now. Look at these youngsters. They taking this information Rod Hayes dropping. They taking this information Rashad Jamal dropping. They taking this information Remedy H dropping. They taking this information that Kalai Amun dropping. They taking this information from all of it, from Bomar 7. They taking this information from B-Dale. They taking this information from all of us that's out here that been doing this work, and they taking it to the next level. This is what the system was most scared of. This is why they had COINTELPRO, right? As long as they had Sarnetter doing debates, they figured they had us. Because as long as we was debating which one of these crackers was right, they knew that they had us. You got to remember. Oh, I got a correction to make on my video. I said that Gerald Massey wrote Destruction of Black Civilization. That was incorrect. Destruction of Black Civilization was written by Chancellor Williams, and Gerald Massey wrote Ancient Egypt, Light of the World. So that gives a whole new perspective of how that story plays out with Sonia Massey, right? Now remember, Gerald Massey and Albert Churchward was the founding fathers of Egyptology, and neither one of them are accepted in academia anymore, right? So as long as we was arguing the validity of their scholars, we was arguing their points from both sides. But as soon as we start saying, that ain't what my ancestors told me, that ain't what that totem pole say, that ain't what that tree arrangement is telling me, that's not the way these people moving on the land, it's not telling me the same story you people telling me, I can't use your references. They disqualify themselves because they collapse under the whole weight of the ancestral messages left on the Wind Talking channel that I accidentally stumbled upon and fell into by birthright. And it don't tell me the same story. But now what I had to do is read the Wind Talking channel. Then I got to go find somebody that y'all accept that said the same thing in order for y'all to be able to even see that I'm not making it up. Because sometimes the doctrine and the actuality is so drastically different that the actuality becomes belligerent to the doctrine itself. So they create that clash. That's the two rams banging their heads on the hilltop. But no matter what happened, the assumed position is always going to fall to the correct position. You can assume whatever position you want, but if you're not the rightful person with the right blood to hold that position, you can't stay there. You can stay there till the rightful person come along, but when the rightful person come along, you got to get out that man's house, you got to get out that lady chair, and you got to let them people live their life in their own stuff. You can't keep it. That's right in the Uniform Commercial Code. In the Uniform Commercial Code, it says when the rightful um, holder returns for his property, that the thief, it's from the ancient code of thieves. I'm just still using the word thief. The thief then must surrender the property in which he have lived maybe lifetimes of his generations to his rightful owner. So when the rightful heir come along, they don't have no choice. They can either get down or lay down, but they're going to have to give it all up. And it don't matter to me whether they get down or lay down or get laid down. It don't matter to me at all. They're going to give it all up. But see, the problem comes in is, while I'm following this tribal practice, many of us think that the only way out is the way that the enemy told us was the way out. He didn't tell us how to get out. He told us how to get in the basement from the first floor with no exit down there. That's what he told us, how to trap yourself so he don't have to do it. He gave you the map and the blueprint to trap yourself so that he can avoid what's called karmic retribution. As long as he got you amening yourself, wrapping yourself in this don't let my God light shine in the world conjure spell, you can't get free. And as long as you can't get free, you're going to be looking at the people that's coming to try to show you the direction of freedom like they the enemy. And all the time, that's your best ally. You better jump on this bandwagon, because once this mug leaves, it's going to be too late to get on. And we keep accepting, look, as long as we look at ourselves as victims, we're going to keep manufacturing through collective will our own victimization. This is why they always want us to, woe is me, my ancestors was in slavery. I wouldn't give a fuck if all my ancestors was in slavery and I'm the first one that ain't. Ain't none of that shit finna stop me from being my best version of me. I don't care what they say. That ain't their choice. That's my choice to be my best self. And the generational curses that break along the way, I welcome that as well. I welcome that as well. I don't mind breaking the generational curses for my family. I love my family. Even the ones that think I'm totally bat loony shit crazy. But when they realize that I already knew what I was talking about from beginning to end, and they be like, man, you should have made me get it. No, I can't make you get nothing. I'm not here to make nobody do nothing but make these imposters give up what's mine. Give my sisters back their shit so I can get my shit. That's all I'm here for. I'm the only people I'm trying to make do anything. I don't even want to make my kids do nothing. I want to teach them how to do it the right way so that they'll know how to do it right. I don't want to make them do nothing. I want to teach them how to do it. I want to make them. I don't want to use brute force. I want to use the natural curiosity of the child to entice their mind to want to learn that thing in which daddy know. Daddy gonna teach you everything you need to know. I don't care what it is. And that go for my blood child, stepchild, nephew, niece, cousin, neighbor across the street. Any child come to me that want the right answer, I'm going to give them the right answer, and I'm going to try to systematically help them to grasp the answer that I'm giving them so that it can grow into something in their mind that help them better in their latter days. I'm not really worried about stopping the child right now from having fun as a child, but I can be planting seeds all along the way, and I can be watering and fertilizing them seeds. As the child grows, so does the garden of his mind become an unrestricted forest of freedom. It's not hard. It's not hard. But the hard part is the average person has been systematically taught to be ignorant. And that is an abomination before God herself and humanity, to teach somebody how to deliberately be ignorant. That's as nauseating as it can get. And my dad used to say, that's the dumbest shit in the world. I used to didn't believe that nobody would want somebody to be dumber than them until I discovered that all of the people with high intelligence, if Mensa don't come get you, you gonna catch hell. If Mensa don't come get the genius, you gonna catch hell in trying to be regular. You're gonna catch hell. You're gonna be miserable. You're gonna go through hard times, struggles, but when it's all over, your intelligence should be able to navigate you to higher forms of learning. But the path is brutal, harsh, unforgiving, uncaring. The path don't care what your emotional state is, it's still going to be the path. You can be as disgruntled as you want to while you walking it. You can cry all the way. You can kick, scream. You can beat on the ground. None of that don't matter. That path going to be that path that make you be the strongest version of yourself in the department of strength that your birthright require you to be strong. You can't alter it. You can't undermine it. You can't shift it. The first thing that you have to realize in reclaiming yourself is, if they lied to me about God, what else would they not lie to me about? Now that put everything that they ever told you under the microscope in your psyche. A lot of people think you have to pick everything apart individually. No, you don't. When you get the big concept understood, the brain automatically begins to sift the information. And in your mind, you got like this algorithm counter of your own thoughts. And you have a spiritual component that erases or it redirects the shit that don't serve your best interest away from you, and it channel all of those that serve your interest to you, which when you realize that the biggest lie they ever told you is God was a man. The second biggest lie they ever told you is that Jesus was a man. The third biggest lie that they told you was that this is not the story of Isis and Heru. In the book of the Bible, Emmanuel is the son. That's Heru. In the book of the Bible, Jesus is Isis. Now, this is where the biggest trick come in, because this goes to Judaism, Christianity in two different directions. When you realize the words in red is two different people talking based on mindset of individuality. I learned this in forensic profiling, and my father confirmed it for me when I showed him. I read Matthew 10, and I was pointing out to him Matthew 10:34, I come not to bring peace but a sword. When I read that part to him, he said, that ain't the words in red though. I said, yes it is. He said, no it ain't. He said, bag up, read some more from before that. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Pops. I'm going to read the whole chapter. And I'm sitting there reading chapter 10 to Pops. When I get to the end of it, he say, that's two motherfuckers right there. They ain't the same person. That's two motherfuckers. And I started laughing because I'd already figured it out from forensic profiling that it's two different people with two different mindsets that's talking in the red print. It's the mama and the son. And this is why there's so many Marys around ISIS, is because that's the Mary, which the Europeans renamed as the rebellious woman. But in Kemet, it don't mean that. It don't mean that. Ta Mary, meaning the land of Mary, meaning the land of Isis. Mary was the Sibyls. The Sibyls were the Marys. Right? They was all the oracle priestesses. The 12 daughters of Isis were the Marys. And this is why I had so many godmamas with name Mary or a derivative of Mary. Right? Because the Marys is and they always the dark mothers that lead the 12 tribes. The darkest one, and even if they pale skinned, she gonna have a healthy tan. She gonna have a healthy tan. They got big mamas in the pale community too. I know quite a few of them, and they spiritually sharp as any other big mama, and mentally as sharp. They be up in age. Yo, Dolores Cannons. Yo, what's that lady name? Linda Moulton Howe. They know what they talking about, and they come from these mitochondrial bloodlines that does not have a look. You got every skin color and every hair texture. If you scroll down far enough on my Instagram page, you will see my 12 Daughters of Isis post, would help you understand it better. Because this is all taken from the ancient sacerdotal seat and the priestesses that protected that seat. Right? I got a whole post on, if you go on my Facebook, if you type in Medusa and you and then you pick up the three little dots up there and it say posted by, and then you just type my name, Rod Hayes, and it's gonna pull up the Medusa post where I'm showing you exactly where Medusa got the name from. Medusa is a title of a Sa priestess. Medu means 10, which is the highest of the ranks. It's just like calling her a dime piece now. It's a 10. In Egypt, they counted from 100 to 1. They didn't count from 1 to 100. But over here, we count from 1 to 100. But when you go to the hypnotist's office, when you go to get put under anesthesia, they tell you to count backwards from 100. That's all Egyptian, which is all Atlantean, which is all southwestern United States, which is the Temple of Isis' original location. So we have to look at these segments. Everybody over here, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they did exactly what they supposed to do. That's why they flourish like they flourish, because they under their own vine and fig tree. They go out and they propagate, but they don't put you in handcuffs and drag you down to the Kingdom Hall and make you come to service. They don't do that. But the corporation, if you don't want to participate in their shenanigans, they send these uniform representatives to enforce their policy, put you in handcuffs, drag you down to their nobility, they nobles called honorables and esquires. You call them judges and lawyers, and then they make you take part in they practice. That don't have nothing to do with us. They closing courts down right now. They closing banks down right now as we speak. And when I get done with this, all you got to do is wait 10 minutes, because I'm going to have a post up showing you that they closing down courts and they closing down banks as we speak. This is a collapse, a total collapse of the corporate system. The financiers, the privateers, the bankers, all of these are pirates looting our land, looting our people, under the false pretenses of running a government. They've never ran government since they've been here. The only reason the infrastructure is as good as it is because they didn't get full control until 1933. Before that, we were still building roads. They take the credit for it now. Oh, the United States government came in and we finished the road. Bullshit, they didn't finish nothing. We built the roads for interstate commerce, but we wasn't building it for state commerce. We was building it for tribal commerce among the outlaw tribes that had got pushed on the other side of Appalachians. Then they pushed us to the Rockies with this goddamn Louisiana Purchase bullshit, and we keep falling for it. And all I'm trying to tell y'all is it's an exit. Oral tradition. I'm following it. And if you pay attention, You're going to see me walk us right out of this shit. Not because I'm smarter than nobody, because I still recognize the lapses in memory and recall processing of data. I still see the glitches in my matrix, in my psyche, from the side effects of being under that spell of hypnotic trance. I see it. But because I know how to adjust, I can conceal where, like for instance, names. I'm supposed to remember a name the first time I hear it. No, but that was part of the conjure, because they, in order to make us confused by the names, when they use a name flips, is they use the spell to make you not remember names. So now you don't know that Jerusalem, New Jersey, that there's also a Jerusalem, Oklahoma, right? You won't make that connection when they tamper with how you process memory and recalls of names. So what do I do to offset that? I research names and research names and research names and research names. So even if I don't remember the person's name, I can't forget their face. I just be like, don't I know you? Yeah, I talked to you 4 hours the other day. What's your name? Oh, yeah, I remember now. But people get offended, but they don't know that there's been a whole spell put on us to make it difficult for us to remember names, dates of events, and times of events. We'll look back in the memory and we'll be like, oh, JFK got shot like 9 o'clock in the morning. No, it wasn't. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No, it wasn't. It was 9:30 at night. We can't remember what time it was, but we can realize that we can go back now and pull that information up. If you have a chance to improve how you perceive, go over an event, write down the time that you think it happened, because you remember it clearly. Then go back and check and see if you're right. Most of you are going to be wrong, but if you keep doing it, you're going to start getting right, because you got to calibrate. Every mental faculty has to be calibrated. This was what the whole purpose of education was, is to teach the child how to calibrate so that they can use the proper mental faculty in order to help them translate and siphon this information so that they're not trapped mentally. It's not a mind block. This is why I like that L. Ron Hubbard and Dianetics. Dianetics is the handbook for breaking that shit out your brain. The only thing is, some of the stuff that L. Ron Hubbard say is not geared toward people from specific backgrounds. But then you got stuff that's geared for everybody. Like his auditor process, yeah, but the information of how the brain works is the most critical thing he wrote in there. When you understand how the brain connects information, now you can start willfully, like going through a library card index, pulling out key pieces of information. It's all there, but you need what's called a linchpin, something to pin it in order for you to find it. So now you take information from varying locations based off a word or a date or a number or a sound. All of these become tools for you to see further into a situation. And the more definitions you learn, like words, etymology, origin of the word, how did the word become into popular usage, all of this stuff enhances how you process. Because the more you experience it, the more that your brain begin to mull this information over on its own while you sleep. What they call that in computer terms, that's a sleeping drive. When the sleeping drive is asleep, then you can run all of your cleansing programs. If you ever notice, most of your downloads and your programs in your computer Your updates, they all come in the middle of the night. Why? Because both computers, the phone and the brain, are down for the night. The only ones that's up, witching hour. They update your phone at witching hour because normally you ain't up at witching hour. But if you up at witching hour, that means you doing something they don't want you to be doing. So you know that your phone gonna be offline in the middle of the night for anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 hours, but you don't care because you sleep. You resting. You know about in the morning, all you gotta do, if at worst, is restart your phone. That's all by design. Everything they do is designed to oppress us mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. The harshest thing about the emotional oppression is this: out of context emotions. Out of context, nobody never asked you when you got mad, is that emotion out of context? Because that might change the whole dynamic. What they do? They either tell you right or you wrong, right? They never tell you to assess your context of emotion. This is what kept me from hurting a whole lot of people. Is the emotion in its proper context? Meaning, am I mad where somewhere I should be inquisitive? Am I hurt somewhere I should be pissed off at? If the emotion is in this right context, then you got to say, okay, if the emotion in this right context, what's the correct course of action based on how I feel, be in the right context for the situation? Sometimes you got to push the snot box back, but most of the time you won't. Most of the time you won't never have to go upside nobody's head by just checking the context of the emotion. This is emotional intelligence 101 used to its highest application. The first understanding of the emotion is, does what you feel angry about supposed to make you angry? If it's supposed to make you angry, don't let nobody talk you down, because the anger is telling you what to do. Listen to the anger, but don't act on it until you understand what the anger is telling you, because the anger is going to tell you something that the calmness can't tell you. Course of action required for this emotion in its proper context. You should be doing this. Right? Now, you also have to do what's called consequence analysis. All right? So you always keep yourself where you can control what type of consequence you're willing to accept for the action you're about to take. Right? I'm mad at this dude down the street on the corner. I go down there and punch him in the face. What's the worst can happen? The worst can happen is he shoot me and kill me. Okay, what's the next worst can happen? I punch him in the face, he died, and I go to prison. Okay, what's the next worst that can happen? Right? So when you get done going through your consequence assessment, then you say, based on the context, the emotion being in its correct context, out of all of these, which is the smartest course of action to take? Always ask that last after you go through everything else. Because if you ask that first, the smartest action to take might not be once you went through your analysis of consequence. If you haven't analyzed the consequences involved, you don't know if you're taking the smartest course of action or the most correct action. Because it's the smartest course of action, don't have to make it the correct action. It could be incorrect based off the consequences, based off the accuracy of the context of emotion, and it might not. The smartest thing might be to go and get the shit over with, slap this motherfucker in his mouth. But then, when you get done analyzing consequences, the smartest thing might leave that stupid motherfucker standing right there and let life whip his ass, because it's going to do some shit to him that I never would have thought to do. Because I thought to slap him in the face. But life going to turn him to a crackhead, make his teeth fall out, have his breath funky, walk around, ain't had a bath in 9 months. He trying to fix somebody's car for a $2 hit. So my punch in the mouth would have never did all of that, what life did. And that was what my mom used to tell me. She said, baby, you don't always have to make somebody pay. Sometimes you could just let them go on about their business and let life make them pay. And life is going to always be harsher on them than you are, because you only going to give them a temporary solution, and life going to give them long-term suffering. You know. So I know we got to get Big Meech out, because somebody got to have the patience to teach these boys how to live with this money, and I don't got that patience. I got the patience to teach them how to bust a motherfucking cap, how to beat a motherfucker ass, or how to do some psychic shit, but I don't got the patience to tell them that this is how you treat people when you got money. That's another chief job. That's not my job. And that's Big Meech's job. And I don't want his job. I would not want to be traveling around with all of these little young knuckleheads trying to keep them all. But he have a natural ability. If it's a natural ability, that's his job. That means nature gave him that ability. He didn't just say, okay, I feel like I'm going to do this, so this is what I'm going to do. No, that's a talent that only nature can give. Can't nobody teach these boys how to walk around filthy rich without making them become an asshole better than Big Meech. Big Meech had all the money he need. He could have left all them niggas and went about his business, but he was serving his community. He could have been living in the Bahamas still. He could have found him a no extradition treaty country and just took a couple $100 million and dipped and been living like royalty. But that's what he did. He loved his people. And this is only somebody from the land that feel like that. All of the foreigners, they want to get the fuck out when they get a few dollars. You get one of them motherfuckers $100,000, he gone. He out of America. He not staying here. He passport bro to Bahamas, Philippines, or somewhere. He not staying here. But Meech had the means to leave this behind him and decided he'd rather teach his brothers how to live with money and lose it all than leave them here with no lessons. That's some grown man shit. That's some grown man shit. That's not even common among street hustlers. The guys in the street he's an anomaly. He had to have some kind of divine mission and gift, because he was able to successfully reach him. He was able to successfully teach him. And the government didn't like it. The reason the government didn't like it, because it was working. It was working. Any one of us that do something that help a mass of us, they coming. And that's why in my strategy, I do everything the way I do it. I don't go to no public events. I'm not clicking up. I'm not posseing up. I'm just sitting here talking on my phone. Having a little conversation with myself. I just turned on Go Live so that other people can hear me talk to myself. I'm not doing nothing. But it just so happened that the side effect of me talking to myself is reclaiming the birthright following the oral tradition. I know that. So now I got a video diary of the takeover. And all of this stuff, me and Malachi got to sit down and figure out how to put it in a book or some books so that people can understand what was being done. Right? And me and some of these fruits, we go sit down and talk, and then they're going to be able to look at the nation lessons from another level. And then it's going to have them, it's going to give the ones that's with the bow ties more respect for the ones in the 5%. Because everybody not supposed to be the same level of morally correct. Or else you would not be able to see yourself climbing through different schools of thought, becoming something better than you was when you started. Right? And I love my peace stones. I don't know why we was so feuding so much, man. I love them stones. Because when Angel Bay around, you got a whole nother caliber of stone than when he ain't. When Angel Bay is present, just who he is, it like massages the manhood in his soldiers, and it erases all signs of fear. Them stones don't bullshit. When you go to Chicago, you go to Motown, you hear them talking about stone running. They mean that shit. They mean that shit. Look, GDs is ambassadors. We go around and we supposed to be making peace treaties everywhere we go. We ambassadors by tribal right. Stones, soldiers. Them the ones supposed to be protecting the community. But we got these motherfucking boys in blue from the Fraternal Order of Police masquerading as our tribal security. And you can't have tribal security when you got an outside force, because they gonna dismantle that shit. It don't mean that it's gonna erase his birthright to enforce the law of the land on the land. That birthright's still present. That's why they won't let him out. But he gonna come out. All of them. All of them. All of them. Look, Dale Jones, they tell us, I think they say he died from cancer or heart attack or something. Whatever it is, they killed him. They was gonna do him like they did Mumia. But the war correspondent Dale Jones started writing books, and they didn't want him writing books from prison where he got more time to study. Get rid of that nigga. That nigga too. Steve Coakley, murdered. They told us he died from some kind of natural shit. No. Ooh. Steve Coakley was dragging all of the dirty laundry of the secret societies out too soon. The people wasn't ready for it. And the people was allowed, that allowed the people to leave him unprotected. The people left Steve Coakley unprotected. He supposed to have an army of brothers around him and an army of sisters. The sisters supposed to make sure all his food is not poisoned and that it's all freshly prepared and stuff like that, so they can't send him nothing in no processed shit. The brothers is supposed to make sure they didn't ride down on him with the military. Well, in this case of Steve Coakley, it must have been the ladies lacking, because they poisoned the shit out of him. They poisoned him just like they did Khalid Muhammad. I think Khalid was a little something different. But anyway, I ain't gonna get into that. I don't want to go there because that's a sore spot for me. And anyway, when we start realizing who people is, it changes how we start treating them. Remember, I done been treated like shit my whole life except by a couple people that's not related to me. I got more people in our community look at me sideways than any other community. I feel right at home in the Puerto Rican party. I feel right at home at a Mexican party. I feel right at home at the Belizean party. When I go with a party where it's just us, what we call the regular brothers, man, everyone will always turn into a fist fight. It'll always go bad. Always go bad. Somebody don't think that I need to be there, I guess. I can't figure out no other reason, but it always used to go bad. And I go to them other people parties. I went to a Hmong party. And I thought I was the guest of honor, and I was just there. So when you understand that other people can see our tribal leaders, and we can't even see them because we've been blinded to it by this system telling us that they are the legitimate authority, and they not, right? They are frauds, right? So I think I'm gonna wrap it up with that. I'm about to go rustle me up some vittles. You know why we always in competition? It sounds crazy, but we always in competition with us because we the best. We don't want to compete with no busters. We want to compete with the best. And if we want to do it, we want to do it as the best. And the only way we can prove that we the best is we got to compete against the best. You think about that. This is why we always at each other's head, because every one of us is striving to be the best, and the only way to prove you the best is by competing against the best. And that's what put us in the arena that pits us against each other, right? That's why all of the greatest fights, the biggest fights in the history of the fight game, the top 50 fights was always two brothers. Like, it might not be all 50, but about 45 out of the top 50 fights in the history of boxing has always been against two brothers. Mano a mano. Best against the best. Right? At first it started out one-sided because Jack Johnson was just slobbering everybody until they forced him to take a dive. Sugar Ray Robinson was whooping everybody to death. Sonny Liston was pounding people to the ground until he ran into Cassius Clay, and he turned into Muhammad Ali and became the greatest of all time. Whether he was or whether he wasn't, it don't even matter, because he got us convinced. He said it so much and so eloquently and with so much class and so much conviction that we don't even question it. We don't even question it. But to tell you the truth, judging by fighters who fight and watch the fight game, I don't think a prime Muhammad Ali could be the prime Joe Louis. I don't think a prime Muhammad Ali could be a prime Mike Tyson. But if it was no Muhammad Ali, there would be no Mike Tyson. So it becomes an unorthodox paradox at that point, because one influenced the other. If it was no Jack Johnson, we wouldn't have no Muhammad Ali and no Joe Louis, right? And all of the greats, like for instance, if it wasn't no Elijah Muhammad, wouldn't be no Rod Hayes. If it wasn't no Marcus Garvey, wouldn't be no Rod Hayes. If it wasn't no Malcolm X, wouldn't be no Rod Hayes. If it wasn't no Clarence 13X, it's a whole lot of people that if you take one of them out of the equation, I don't be here. I won't be doing what I'm doing if just one of them is missing, because it ain't my time yet. But by all of them being there and all of them being a significant influence, now it produces the perfectly cooked stew of understanding of our condition, and the solutions is always in the problem. And for parents, get you a book of quotes, encyclopedia quotes, political quotes, power quotes, military quotes, witty quotes, funny quotes. But the book of quotes, those are tidbits of wisdom. And the more of them that you can share with your child and use for topics of discussion, you are teaching them more of the ways of wisdom than rote information. If you tell them, you hear me say sometimes, Winston Churchill once said that the truth is so valuable it must be carefully guarded by a ring of lies. Right? Well, what do we mean? This is a topic for discussion. It's a way to get a young child's mind to churn. And what do we mean? Why would you want to hide the truth with lies. What does it benefit the truth to be concealed with the lie? It doesn't benefit the truth at all. But all of the lies get to shine off that little bit of truth it reflects. Let that sink in. Right? Then they say history is written by the victors. Well, who wrote our history books? Who wrote the history books? Why did they write them? If they the victors and they wrote history, what angle do they put on it to make us see the victor as the hero in the story? What if he really the villain? Have we ever considered that option? What if the victor is the enemy that's telling us the story that make us go along to get along so he don't have to fight to keep us down? So, I'm going to start collecting book of quotes, the little book of quotes, the big book of quotes, the little big book of quotes, the little book of big quotes, the big book of little quotes. It don't matter, because I find that you get, by taking what people said, you get so much more understanding of what was going on in any given time frame, because you understand the powerful people that's making these statements mindset. Like when I go over the most violent, bloody oath of the papacy, that's the Jesuit oath. But it's not called the Jesuit oath. The Jesuits have another oath called the Jesuit oath. But the secret oath of the Jesuit is the most violent, bloody oath of the papacy, to kill the kings, the princes, and the people of the land. Well, why would they do that? They've been doing that over here because we had kings and queens over here, but we didn't call them kings and queens. Then the foreigners came and they gave us the title of chief to represent our leadership, so we won't never remember the tribal names was always in reference to the sun or to a tree or to an animal, right? So whatever it was, in the end, when it break down, it meant either the shining ones, that means sunny, sunny boy, sun, ray, rah, all these different names. These are names from chiefs. When you double it up, that means they got the chief right from both sides of the family. The boy might start off, his name might be Josh, but they might start calling him Sonny Boy. Why did they start calling him Sonny Boy? They can't help it. It's in the DNA. Whatever we was is what we are. And if you understand the culture, you will see how we respond to different people, right? So we got Big Mama, we got Nana, we got Baby, we got TT, all of those elder women, and the ancestors, the invaders came over. They say we rally around these women like a pack of ants, so they start calling our aunts because we used to call them my mama's sister, because she was your mama too, right? And our grandmama was my mama. But that's got to be too much of a tongue twister 4 generations down, because we was living that long. Because we would have my mama's mama. That's who she is. And the settlers, they couldn't keep up with that. Because sometimes we would call somebody mama for 15 minutes. That means she's almost 300 years old. That's my mama's mama. But we gotta get back. The culture's still here. They told us they can't kill the culture. The culture comes back in phases based on the leadership that's arising at the moment. When they came, there was no high chiefs on the land. There was only what you call interim chiefs, which were chiefs that was learning to become a high chief, who had to be deceived by the settlers in order for them to learn the deception so that the settlers would never be able to deceive them again. Right? So now they got us disregarding our culture and our natural ways. And what we not realizing is that's one of the things that's making us lag behind in every area, because our culture is present, but we don't acknowledge this presence, which makes it slows down to be seen. And when it slows down to be seen, it's open to be infiltrated as it's following its natural course of progression. So we came up with the rock and roll. They came up with the CIA agents infiltrating rock and roll through the Tavistock Institute, right? When we left rock and roll, they came out with pop music. They took what they learned from the Tavistock Institute and they gave it to something called Sony Inc. Then, once they realized that we just changed the music again, we coming with something called hip hop. They have to hijack it. And they hold their little secret meeting in the 91 to hijack hip hop because it was being used as a tool of socially educating each other about the social climate and the conditions within the communities all across the land. And then if any given time, LA, Miami, Dallas, Detroit, Atlanta, and New York all figure out that we're going through the same thing with the same enemy at the same time, and nobody told us, then we're going to all be the same amount of pissed at the same people at the same time, and that's called unifying the force. They don't want that energetic force unified, so what they do? Hijack the source of the communication. But go back to Buju Banton. It's through that mystical communication within we keep on coming together. I love it to see when brothers and sisters is looking out for one another. We get it from the reggae. So now we, in hip-hop, we mumbling now because we can't tell you what we need to tell you, but we sending you over there to listen to the Rasta man come with that Rasta talk. Right? He gonna come tell you in the dance hall what that man doing. See, he hijack you hip hop, but he don't hijack that Rasta man. Cause we see that double coming. Right? So the ancestors smart as hell. Every way that they thought that they was gonna use as an oppressive tool against us, we figured out how to use it as a come up. So that concludes tonight's Chiefing with the Chief. Remember, my next video, my next live I'm gonna do by myself, it's gonna be titled Chiefing with the Chief. If I was an African, this is why I would be proud. But I ain't no African. So, but I'm gonna tell them, go over some stuff in Africa. And I'll probably bring my tablet so I can go over some pictures and receipts for y'all. But if I was an African, I'd be a proud African. I love Africa. I love the Zulu. I love the Dinka, the Falasha. I love the Mindi. Them people, they got rich cultural backgrounds. Warloff, right? So when you start realizing, look, I'm going to send y'all down a rabbit hole. Look up Niger Condorfian language, and it'll divide the tribes up over there for you. It's going to blow your mind. Niger Condorfian language, or Niger Condorfian linguistic stocks. Because all of his Bantu's the parent language. One of the most significant languages is Bantu's, because a lot of the tribal tongues that are it's the bridge between the click languages and the non-click languages, and it's the Bantu root language. But they got a real beautiful, rich culture. They're just not my people. I don't have a problem with them. They're just not my people. My people from over here. We rose up out of the Mississippi clay dirt, this color, red, ruddy red, with nappy hair. right? So, I mean, we don't have no adverse. We want Africa free, just like we want free over here. Same, the same. We want Africa free, just like we want free over here. Only we have to fight for this freedom, and Africans have to fight for that freedom. Now, we have people over there called Liberians, right? That's our contribution to assist them over there, because at any time the Liberians want to come back home, the Africans over here have to be the contribution from Africa to make way for the people to, you know, Eddie Murphy, trading places back to America, coming to America, whatever the hell you call it. But it's all part of the game. And the game is called switcheroo. Switching you with somebody else while they telling somebody else that they switching them with you. So they playing the old switcheroo game. Just like they keep switching up Kamala Harris's every couple of weeks between this little petite lady, this big busted lady, and this man playing the shell game in Central Park. Like we ain't supposed to see this. They got 15 Joe Bidens. The newest Joe Biden, he almost tall as Will Chamberlain. This lady, Jill, went from being this tall to him to being all the way down here on his shoulder. Like, what the hell is it? They so obvious with the tomfoolery that, like, what? Y'all don't see this? And then you got people in my inbox thinking that I'm picking on Kamala Harris. They don't know I love the shit out of Kamala Harris. The real one, the Indian lady, that's the real Kamala that parents met up in Jamaica, came to America, dropped the baby off. That Kamala, the real Kamala Harris, I don't have no problem, with her as a woman. She a little freaky for my taste, hot tour and all of that. She a little, but, I just can't get with the man. Because I seen the drag race with these drag queens on a cannonball run, scavenger hunting across the land to pillage and loot all of our resources. Then we over here thinking the Statue of Liberty is a woman. All the time it's a whole drag queen. They've been telling us the story, but we don't want to believe it because we convinced by the Kabuki theater that's barring the women so that they can put men in the women's seat. All cross-dressers don't have to change clothes and put on a dress. Some of them can dress like a man, but they're sitting in a woman's seat, like the mayors. Think about that for a minute. Just like the mayors, they all cross-dressing. All of the ones that ain't the women is cross-dressing. They sitting in a woman's seat, the town mother. But that was our culture they hijacked and they repurposed it in order to deceive us into believing that our tribal structure was still here. It's still here, it's just not practiced by us. It's being practiced by the enemy in a way that's being used to subjugate us. The town mother is the mayor. The real mayor of this town is nobody than City Hall. The real mayor of this town that I'm in, Pontiac, is the old lady over there on Prospect named Miss Pittman. She the big mama. She the oldest of the 5 family mothers. That's if she's still living because I ain't heard from her in a while. But she was the oldest of the 5 biggest families, big mama, that's living in the city that was been here the whole time. She hold the position. That's a guy I went to school with named Chickaboom. That's his mama. Right? Tribally, she the one we supposed to be taking blankets to on the holidays. She supposed to get gifts of blankets and slippers from all of the tribes, and she supposed to give them out throughout the year for special purposes and ceremonial purposes. But we didn't undermine. We just let these people just take our whole culture away from us. But I know who she is, right? I know who put me in the game. I know who came and told me that, hey, look, they came in hostile off a left bump. Sugar Bang. James Love from Pontiac. They all of my homeboy, everybody in here, Pontiac, know who James Love, Sugar Bang is. He got killed. I have to pick up the torch and keep moving. You know? And but the ones around here that know who he is, when they found out that I'm the current reigning Chief Pontiac, they hey, wait a minute, that's Bang. No, hold up. That's family, baby. Go ask the sister Lisa, she'll tell you. We was in this together. So I'm just a different chief. He was round face, I'm the long face chief. That goes straight back to Manly P. Hall's Melchizedek picture, right? With the four faces, right? So we had the ox, that's Oxford. The eagle claw, that's Clawson, right? The lion, that's Leonard. And then the scarlet robe, that's Auburn Hills. And then you got the chief of the long face. Long face chief, not round face chief. Algonquin, bird face, the bird man, the bird head chief, not the sun face chief. The pie face, not that chief. Right? So when you start understanding that this culture, I had to spend time with the Saginaw Indians. They still up there in Saginaw, looking like us, doing what we do, gigging, right? I had to go hang out with the Flintstones. They made a cartoon based on their culture. The Flintstones. The mining of the rock mines, that was the gravel pits that was a little further up north from Flint that they used to go to. Then Flint is the home of the Auto Workers Union. The Auto Workers Union was born in Flint, Michigan. And so they poison the water, try to get rid of them. The Flintstones ain't going nowhere. You can't poison them out. You can't kill them out. You can't lock them up. The Flintstones ain't going nowhere. They love their home. You can run it down. You can strangle out the financial support. You can murder Mr. Mays, Alderman Mays. You can murder him, but you still can't get them Flintstones out of Flint. Right? And they been there, they gonna be there. It's just sad that you tried to poison all of them people and didn't have any regard for anybody's child, for anybody's granny, nothing. You just poison them all. That's the most ruthless, vilest thing this government in Michigan, no it ain't. Back in the 70s, they were spraying chemicals in Grand Rapids to see how it would affect the general population without telling them. And they had newspaper articles. They had the scrub behind that one because people was finding out and they was being up in arms. And then all of a sudden, the people that was talking about it shut up. And then they went on about their business, building businesses from money they got from somewhere. Wonder why they shut up. And then you had other people that was putting it in print that was disappearing, like reporters and shit. That was ending up reporting in Madagascar somewhere in the little town of 200 people that don't even speak English. That's what they was ending up happening to them because they want to keep that stuff quiet. This people that's saying that they are government has done some of the vilest things you can do to humans on us to try to wipe us out, like the Tuskegee experiment, like the Philadelphia move bombing, like the Oklahoma City bombing, Tulsa, that is, Black Wall Street. I ain't talking about the federal building, but that was the government too. That was Hillary Clinton behind that. Her and the Snowman Bill, right? All of this stuff that they've been doing to us, the worst thing I think they did to us, just kept us down the longest, is to turn us on each other. Just like in the so-called slave movie, where they used to take I need me a mandingo nigga, I need me a fighter to go fight it, and so they making the niggas fight. That's what they've been doing to us. They've been sicking us on each other. But see, they come from a different genetic stock from us. So when they grow up with us, they compel us to behave out of character. Right? They catch us, they know what they're doing because they're doing it as a child. They're not doing it out of malice, they're doing it out of mischief. And that's why they say that the devil go about spreading mischief and bloodshed. He haven't, as a teenager, he haven't developed the malice yet. It's just mischief. It's mischievous. It's the motivating somebody to do some dumb shit so you can laugh about it, no matter how severe the consequence is. This is how they mischievous, but as they grow older, they mischievous endeavors empower them enough for it to become malice. And when it becomes malice, it's pure unadulterated evil, with no regard for any semblance of a moral code or a legal code. It's just straight malice. Like, whoever I can fuck over, however I can fuck over them. They always coming to you borrowing shit, but don't never pay it back, don't never offer to pay it back. And if you ask for it back, they catch amnesia. They do that kind of shit. Or they'll come and then they'll ask you to do something that they know they're not going to do themselves. First of all, the only way I'm going to ask somebody to do something I'm not going to do myself is if it's somebody I'm paying to do the job. I'm not going to ask somebody, even the job that I pay, if I knew how to do it, I'd do it myself. Right? It's the only reason I'm paying you is to do something that I don't have the skill set developed in which I can get the job done efficiently and effectively. But if I got the time to sit there and rehearse it until I get it right, I might be able to just do the job myself and I won't have to call nobody. Because the worst thing for me to do is ask for some help. That's the worst for me. The worst thing I could do is ask for help. I hate asking somebody for help because when people ask me for help, they always got an agenda. I don't got no agenda. So I don't want nobody to come offering me breadcrumbs to abandon my mission because I don't have no agenda. My only agenda is to give my people their shit back. That's the only agenda I got. And now, the only reason I got that agenda because my mama raised me to not let nobody take nothing from my brothers and my sisters. I see y'all shit being held up, and the only way I can get y'all to y'all shit is I have to make a move for mine. I made my move, and like B.B. King said, I didn't make a move too soon. Everything I did was following an ancient tribal practice for the born heir with the spiritual rank, crown prince of heaven on earth, will return in this day and age just like everybody else through the womb of a mother. So no matter what the hell they tell y'all, if they didn't come through that portal of life, they came through another portal somewhere else, or they came from outer space and they emerged from something. But if you didn't come from that portal of life, you're not native to this planet. You got to come through that portal to be organic to this planet. And even if they don't look like us, if they organic to the planet, you gonna know it because when the sun get done getting rid of all synthetics, you're going to be surprised at how many niggas ain't here and how many pale faces still exist. You ain't caught up in that racism shit that didn't have nothing to do with skin, had everything to do with socioeconomics, caste control of a mass of people. But you want to take that shit and you want to put it in your sciences and put it in your technology and put it in your history books and put it in your education. It ain't got nothing to do with the skin. It got something to do with the spirit. spiritus. It got everything to do with the spirit. Because if you don't got a righteous spirit, it don't matter what color your skin is, you a rotten motherfucker. But if you got a righteous spirit, it don't matter what color your skin is, your heart gonna be pure and your actions gonna be purely intended. When you offer help, you mean that from a true place. You don't offer help just so you can get a motherfucker to owe you something. I don't want you to help me if I'm gonna owe you something. I come help you and you won't owe me nothing, because that's what brothers do. If my sister can't lift something up and she need me to come lift it for her, I'm gonna go lift it for her. I ain't gonna be asking her where her sorry ass man at, because apparently he was too sorry to lift what she needed lifted and made her have to call her brother. And I'm gonna go. And she don't owe me nothing. Nobody owe me nothing. And I'm not gonna never put a person in a position where they feel like they owe me something. I don't want damn motherfucker owe me nothing. You don't owe me nothing. Anything you give me is a blessing. I don't owe a motherfucker nothing. Anything I give them is a blessing. I offer anything I offer from the truest place in my heart, or else I'm not going to offer it to you. I'm not going to offer it to you. Now, if I'm in the streets and I'm doing street shit, don't trust me. But if I ain't in the streets doing street shit, and I'm doing my moving to my ranch, husbandry, farming other animal type shit, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm gonna be straight up with you, because now I'm not living in the dog eat dog world, so I don't have to play the dog eat dog game. Right? So when you play the game, you gotta know the game you playing. And if the game consequences you not cool with, don't play that game. If you don't like the setup of the rules of the game, don't play that game. And always make your enemy bring the rule book with them, because they're going to always cheat. And the rule book is going to be the only way for you to keep them honest. That's why they created rule books to begin with, because the motherfucker kept trying to change the game in the middle of the game. You start with one set of rules, we gonna finish with that same set of rules. But if you start trying to alter the rules, if I can use them to my advantage, I'm gonna use them just like you did. And that, people, been chiefing with the chief. And again, I'll be back with my Africa video. And I'll catch y'all then.